Hi, welcome to Coding Tutor. My name is Shiva. In the last video, we developed Spring Boot project and using a Lombok framework. Now, using a Lombok framework, what type of operations we can try to perform? We can generate setters and getters, and even we can try to use builder design pattern, and we used all argument constructor annotations in my project. Now let me try to show how to design a service layer. Before going to write a service layer, after writing entity class, let me write repository layer. Repository layer we can try to call as a dev layer, repository layer, persistent layer, new interface, repo, spring date, user d user repository extending JPA repository. Just wait, it's updating my system. Yeah, now here we have to write entity class. What is entity class? User info. Now integer. So what is this integer? Look at now the id data type. This type we can try to use in the repository layer. Here we can try to specify entity class and id, primary id type we can specify. So we can use here at the rate of repository annotation. What is the annotation, sir? Repository annotation. At the rate of repository annotation. Now look at here, user repository extending JPA repository. Very good. Now look at here, sir, in my entity class I have an email, right? Good. Now let me try to write a service layer. A new class. Service. Now here we can specify interface. Right click on this, new interface, service. Now look at here, user service. In this interface we can specify business methods. What are the operations we are trying to performing? Before writing a business method, so now let entity class mapped with a database table, right? Entity class mapped with a database table. Now let's try to write one DTO class, data transfer object. What is the use of DTO? Using a DTO, we can capture the data coming from a client. Using a DTO, we can try to we can capture the data coming from a client. New class, user request. You can try to use the word name is called user request, otherwise user DTO. Anything is fine, sir. Here we are writing DTO. Look at here, user DTO, first name, last name, email, password. See, we are using Lombok method, setter method, generating setter method, getter. Next, all argument constructor. Next one, no argument constructor, yeah, even at the rate of builder design pattern. So now observe that first name, last name, email, and password. Up to here is fine. Now, then look at here. Expand. Oh, what happened? Lombok is not here. I hope we did in the last session, last video. Yes. Look at now. It's generating setters and getters and all argument constructor, default constructor. Good. It generate a runtime. Now let's come to the service layer. Now we are going to write a business methods. Save method, save user, create user, save user, or whatever we can try to write. Just I'm trying to taking the help as save user, otherwise create user. Create user. Then user. What is the return type? What is the return type? We can try to specify here now. This is entity class. Here instead of entity class, let's try to choose user request. Now, so what is the use of this DTO, sir? This DTO capture the data coming from a client, and once it capture the data will be copied into the entity class. Through the entity class, we try to store the data in the database. Good. Now, once you are provide a response like this, and let's try to take one more DTO class. User request we did. New class. User response. Response. So as part of the response, let me try to add this. Control C. Response like this. Observe guys, request and response. Now along with this, integer ID, or you can say user ID. Yes. Now as usual, generate setters and getters. Setter, getter, setter method, setter annotation is generating setter methods. Getter method is generating getter annotation. Now as usual, all argument constructor, no argument constructor. Yes, all argument constructor means that parameterized constructor. No argument constructor means that default constructor. Without argument, we are generating a constructor. See, save method. Let me complete this this method, first method. Then let me complete entire end to end. Then remaining business methods we try to write it. Okay. Now let me provide implementation now. Here as a response we are giving user response. Good. Now let me try to provide implementation. Right click on this, new service implementation, user service implementation, user service. Finish. Here you can configure at the rate of service. What is that? At the rate of service. Good. So what we can try to do that now? Create user. So right. So assume that once user object, once we get it, then this user object, I want to store into the entity class. Okay, let's copy the data into the entity class. Copy the data into the entity class. So we can perform a different approaches, sir. Let me try to show you one by one approach. First, let's try to create entity class, user info, reference variable, user info. Yeah. Now, user info like this. So this is my entity class. Now let's try to configure it. User info dot set first name. Yeah, first name. Then user dot get first name. User info dot set last name. User dot get last name. Perfect. User info dot first name, last name, password, email. Yep. User dot get email. Good. Next, user info dot email, first name, last name, password. User dot get password. Look at friends. So this is the way you can try to perform it, right? So now this user info entity class reference variable, we can save the data in the database. Now let's try to configure repository layer here. User repository, user repository reference variable. So here we can inject user repository implementation class. We have different approaches. One approach is auto void. We know that what is auto void, right? Next, instead of using auto void, so best approach always you can use parameterized constructor. Control constructor using a field. Look at now here. Like this. Is it clear? Control A, Shift F. This is the way. Good. Now, using a repository reference variable, now you can try to use save method. Yes. Then you can try to specify object. So once you save the object, yes. So before saving, don't forget about it. Let me try to do info dot set deleted false. I hope is a by default false only. Let me check that. Okay, is good. Because saving time, right, is not required to do specifically. But better, sir, you can try to specify when you are trying doing like this. So save it. So then return type is entity class. What data inserting in the database? Exactly is trying to returning the same entity class. Entity class. Now I want to see to convert entity class reference variable to user response object. Right. Now what I can do that. Sir, one of the best approach or easiest approach I can try to say that bean utilities class, bean is one more approach, sir. Dot copy property. We have different approaches. I'll show you then moving forward different approaches. See here, instead of writing these many statements, you can write one single statement, sir. You taking the help of bean utilities class, bean utilities dot copy properties. Then this is the main, right? Then where we have to copy it. Yes, that is important, right? User response object. Let me try to create user response new user response. Control like this. Got it? Now you can return user response. That's it. So this is the approach we can try to perform the operation. So look at here once, everyone. Now save user response. Perfect. Let me try to go to write controller. What is that? Controller. Let me design controller. Right click on this, Maven, update a project. Yeah. Let me write controller. Right click on this and new REST customer controller. Here I can write at the rate of REST controller. Public user response. What is the response? DTO, user response DTO. Create user. Now user request. Now where is service layer? Service layer. Now I can try to use service layer. Private service implementation at the rate of auto void. Other way I can try to use parameter constructor. Already I used a parameter constructor, and let me use here auto void. Okay. Now return service implementation dot save user. Create user, otherwise user. So this is the approach we can try to perform. Here I am changing the save user. Perfect. At the rate of post mapping annotation what we are trying to using slash create. Now have to capture the data coming from the client, right? For that we are using request body is annotation. What are the methods I'm going to write it? All the methods I want to access using one single URL. So let me try to write like API save user like this. Perfect. Yeah, it's good. Now once saving is let me try to open my Postman. Let me open Postman. right? Now, what is the port number? 8081. HTTP colon, HTTP colon, localhost 8081 API create. Then we can use post mapping. So let me try to send the data. So user request, first name. So next video we try to use validations and exception handling. First name Shiva, last name right, last name, email, email, password. Just I'm using Shiva. Password I'm using Shiva. So Shiva, I want to store the password encoding format. Yes, coming videos we try to do that, how to apply the security on this application also. Now let me try to send a request. Look at now. Once when I sent a request, wait. Why it's not working? Let me check that. Oh, I have not started the application, right? Let me try to start. Let me try to start, run as Spring Boot application. Yeah. Right? Now, save it. Send it, sorry. See, happily the data is storing in the database. Yes, response is coming like this. Perfect. So now email is available in the database, right? Email is available. Now, once again, if I send a request, no doubt it will save the data in the database. But once email is exist, I don't want to see to store the data in the database. I want to see a message email already exists. In the next video we will do, and even we try to apply the validations, and even we try to add one more functionality, email functionality also. Let me show you in the database once. Yeah. Just let me try to show you guys. Just wait for a few minutes. Right, where is my property file? See, user db. Let me come to here. Yeah, user DB, expand it. No issues. So yes, I think it's created. Look at now. Look at, this is the option way, guys. Perfectly it's trying to working. This is my previous table. Just let me try to drop it. Now it's working fine. So here I'm stopping. In the next video, I'll try to focus. If email is exist, I want to see to store the data in the database. I want to see a message. Email already exists. Along with this, we will try to apply the validations. And along with the validations, and if I get any error, I want to see to handle that errors. When exactly errors will come, how to handle those errors, we'll look at all these things in coming videos. So guys, anyone interested, let's try to refer a coding tutor. This is a basic example, the fundamental example, the step by step what I'm doing here. Just a sample code what I've shown here. Here in the coding tutor, we will train you the conceptually, and we'll try to make you people the scalable resource. And not only concept, first step always we believe a concept clarity. After concept clarity, it should be do a more practical, the practical more practical oriented approach we try to teach you guys. And after practicals in the sprints once it's done, then you will work on our R&D along with R&D team. So more experienced people will guide you to do the projects, and you are going to work on these projects, those projects. We have internal projects and external projects and client projects. And then once you work with this our seniors, our leaders, then you will get a good exposure, industry oriented exposure you will get it. Please, if anyone interested, let's try to call the coding tutor. Thank you.